Merchandise Uganda. Merchandise Uganda is an online marketplace, an online business community that supports Ugandan businesses to have experience in marketing and exposure.
My name is Stephen Mutana. I am Managing Director of MTN Mobile Money Uganda Limited. That sounds like a new entity. Indeed, it's new. It's been set up as under the auspices of the National Payment Systems Act, which in brief is the law to regulate mobile money organizations. So we are 100% owned by MTN Uganda Limited, which you know as a telecommunications organization.
My name is Anthony Ndegwa. I am the Managing Director of NCBA Bank Uganda Limited. NCBA Bank Uganda Limited is a bank operating in Uganda. This bank was formed in 2020, June 2020, after the successful merger of two Ugandan banks.
My name is Ana Grajales and I am Numida's Uganda Country Director. To tell you a bit about Numida, we offer unsecured working capital loans to micro and small businesses through our mobile app. Our loans require no paperwork, no collateral, and are dispersed directly to your phone within 2 hours.
Moses Oyuru are my names, the founder of Citron. Our product is PayClyde, and with PayClyde as a user, we have options as a user. You can transfer money to your friends and family, you can pay bills, you can access banking financial services, and also as a merchant, you can access payments, accept payments from mobile money and cards, and also be able to settle your received income into the bank without necessarily having to travel there.
My name is Erasmus Okurut, the CEO and co-founder of PayTotal Uganda Limited. PayTotal is a white label branded platform that was incorporated last year during the pandemic. We are building Africa's next generational platform that is solving problems over the mobile and also in web.
My name is Ronald Azedwe. I'm the Managing Director of Pegasus Technologies. And Pegasus Technologies has been in existence since 2007. So this September we celebrate 14 years of existence. And over our lifetime we've built quite a number of applications or solutions that have come onto the market. I believe the very first was a bill payment solution that allowed people to digitally pay their bill payments. We've also developed school fees solutions. We've developed, we are one of the only Fintechs that is PCI DSS certified. So it gives us the ability to do card payments. So we do card payments. We had the very first university payment solution called MarkPay.
My name is James Biarohanga. I'm currently the General Manager of Raxio Data Center, Uganda. So Raxio Data Center is the first Tier 3 data center in the country. Our data center is carrier neutral. This means that we connect any kind of fiber provider to our data center. It's also cloud neutral, means that we open up for any cloud service providers who are willing to extend their cloud platforms into our facility to be able to actually service the SME and corporate needs.
My name is Tim Jameson. I'm the VP of Payments and Financial Services for SafeBoda. For those of you that don't know SafeBoda is a ride-hailing company based in Ibadan in Nigeria and headquartered in Kampala, Uganda. We started broadly 6 years ago as a road safety community for bodabodas, so two-wheeler taxis in Kampala. And from there, sort of evolved into sort of a more formalized ride-hailing service through our digital platform.
My name is Patrick Setuva, and I'm the CEO of Silicon Savannah Limited. Silicon Pay is a fintech product of Silicon Savannah Limited, a technology company that is based in Kampala. And we basically deal in software development and internet-related activities or products.
My name is Akatolam George. I work with Copper Limited. It is a software engineering company. Copper Limited has a product called TickTech. TickTech is a platform, an online platform where a client can buy a ticket online. You visit a website, www.ticktech.com, and then you buy yourself a ticket using either mobile money or credit card.
My name is Owolo Nelson Mandela. I work with TradeLance Limited. I work as a sales and marketing analyst. TradeLance is a financial technology company that deals in integration solutions. We deal in integration solutions, and we partner with all the telecom communications companies in Uganda. That is MTN, Airtel, Africell, UTL, and Leica Mobile.
My name is Patrick Kizito, the CEO of UG Mart, and we're a fintech company which strives to stretch across a lot of areas, but the most important is financial inclusion. The other thing is within financial inclusion, we target specific people, for example, women.
My name is Alan Rakatungu. I am the CEO at Sente Tech Limited. Sente is an all-in-one business account that helps business owners and finance teams manage expenses, make payments to team members, suppliers, and also collect payments.
My name is Laban Jemba, and I'm the enterprise leader at SchoolDime that's operated by Lipa Mobile. So SchoolDime started in 2018, around about June. That is when we rebranded and repackaged all the products of Lipa Mobile that had to do with school services. So what does it exactly do? It is a platform. It's a digital platform for parents to manage their children's education expenses, and also the health, academic, and other school affairs information.
Marlin Company Limited is an ICT solutions company. You've heard of the catchword Fintech. So we're a Fintech, that's financial technology company. We specialize in value-added services and advanced credit services.
I'm Michael Katerega. I'm the founder of Whitetip Capital, and I'm the team lead at Whitetip Capital. Whitetip Capital is a financial markets software company. We deal in a number of software initiatives to deal with the financial markets especially, and we have two main products. We have the Ubuntu SX, which is an aggregation software for stock exchanges around Africa.
My name is Gerald Begumisa. I'm the managing director of Your Uganda Limited. We are a 16-year-old technology company. When we started, our initial idea was to introduce into the market low-cost international calls. We wanted to take advantage of some of the changes in regulation in the communication sector that had happened at the time. However, since then, we've had numerous developments and changes in the services that we offer. One of the most significant events was the introduction of mobile money services, which started in 2007 with M-Pesa in Kenya and 2009 in Uganda. So I'm happy to note that we were the first company in Uganda to offer a public mobile payments aggregation system.
My name is Mose Fred. I'm the founder and CEO of Altech ICT Solutions. Altech is a tech firm that specializes in software development and has a huge interest in fintechs. Since 2019, we've been able to produce a number of products that include EasyLend, School Novas, UG Clinics, and many more. With School Novas, we've been able to add a number of women into our workforce, and now it's women dominated. And our workforce is women dominated. With EasyLend, we've been able to automate a number of circles that are women dominated, that include self-sustainable graduate, Maenza traders, and many more. Our main advantage is the local and international network that we do have, and an extensive experience in this sector of fintechs.
The challenges, of course, remain the same, but again, these create the opportunity. So one of the biggest challenges for me, I think, is people don't know. They don't know what technology is. They don't know what payments are, online payments, and so we have to go and educate.
The challenge with digitizing agriculture mostly is access to technology for the farmers. So you find that there are very few farmers who can access a smartphone, but who can know how to use the smartphone.
The 40 days, 40 FinTech is a great initiative. It's great in the sense that it offers a possibility of convergence of purpose for the FinTech industry.
40 Days and 40 FinTechs has been one of those aggregators of information and players within the ecosystem to create awareness through a platform that speaks to everybody, even at the last mile.
It broadened our minds towards financial inclusion and interoperability, that whenever we develop systems, we think beyond that client whom we are developing for.
When you do a startup and when you have a FinTech and when you need to take those services, what is your single biggest need? Or one is the single biggest thing that you actually need? You need visibility. You need somebody to take your story to the larger ecosystem, to the larger customers. And that is why some of these initiatives like 40 Days, 40 FinTech, etc., the more visibility they give to this sector, the more visibility they give to the individual FinTechs, the more visibility they give to the different use cases that people are trying to build to expand of this industry, the more we will accelerate the development of this entire industry.
It has built a FinTech ecosystem. Now this ecosystem is a rich gold mine for networking. It's a rich gold mine to enable us as FinTechs build activities around each other. Because when we discover that there is another FinTech that is doing something that we have been trying to crack over maybe a period of time, being able to network with them and getting their solution within our ecosystem builds better resilience and will enable us now spur a lot faster and do the things that we need to do.
Excitedly, I can see that the future of the FinTech industry in Uganda is quite bright. You can see the NPS regulations, the National Payment Systems regulations in place. You're beginning to see more trust coming in from the different stakeholders as a way to advance the financial inclusion agenda.
But also, more importantly, creating awareness where it is relevant at regulatory level for all the stakeholders involved in making a lot of these services easy to access, affordable, and available to everybody within the community.
Hi people, and 40 Days, 40 FinTechs is a move in the right direction because it highlights or spotlights the different FinTechs and what they're trying to achieve. And different sector players will see what other people are doing and see what the synergies are. Who can I work with? What are they doing? What kind of information they have? The biggest problem...
Let's start it. Are you leading the prayer?
Exactly. Before we lead the prayer, is anyone celebrating their birthday today? September babies? No September babies? Ah, okay. There we have one. The last time I was here, I think with the 40 Days, 40 FinTechs, I was fresh from my honeymoon. I am making a year in marriage this same month.
I don't know if you will ever stop talking about that.
Please
Congratulations again.
Please clap for me. It's not been easy. I also can't believe I've made the year in marriage. But anyway, we want to kickstart with a word of prayer. And of course, we definitely do something very interesting. But immediately after the word of prayer, we want to check out some of those exhibitions behind the screens there. And you can just, walk to any table you feel like, get to see exactly what they're exhibiting and stuff like that. But before, let me start off with a prayer. Father, we thank you for this beautiful opportunity that you've given to us yet once again. Thank you for the journey masses, for the gift of life, and also for wisdom. As we continue today, we ask of your presence in abundance, and of course your unending wisdom to guide us through everything that we are to do. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen. I'm a serious born-again Christian.
Amen and amen. Very well. Now it's time, and with no further ado, there is a lot of screen around that is behind you if you could turn. So since we're in the pandemic, at least let us move maybe one by one or two by two, but Wesley here will surely be guiding us through. So different participants are exhibiting different products they have or services. So those are the screens you can see behind. So please, this is the time. Feel free to interact and go there, surely find out what they have. And I can promise that there is a lot to learn, honestly.
Exactly. All right, so feel free to just, walk to any screen behind you. There is a table in front of every screen, and check out what they're exhibiting, and then we'll be good to go for now. Then I'll be back, and then we shoot straight. Thank you.
Very well, and as you're moving, maybe one by one or two by two, surely we're going to be, we have a lot of activities that are going to be taking place around here with this season, and we'll be excited later on, sooner or later, to be joined from NTV and BBS television. So you can tell a friend at exactly 11 somewhere, we will be switching to the television services, and your spouse or your friend will surely watch you there. And I can tell you that in case, I do not see anybody moving yet actually, because we are working with time. If you could please at least respond. Okay, let us do like this. We begin with the first row, and then they go. How about that? I think that would surely work. Let us begin with the first ones. Then you can visit behind what they have got, and then as you will be checking on when they are coming out, the second row can do surely follow. Thank you so much. Yeah, surely music will do. Thanks.
Okay. Our chief guest, Damali, will be come through on almost every store to just check out what you actually have.
Yes, surely. I hope you're having a very good learning time. And we just have 9 minutes of exhibiting. Just keep that in mind. 9 minutes, then we will take back our seats. So I hope everyone or anybody who is still seated, not yet to go there, surely you can use that time.
right, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I would love to call you back. We'll be back on those tables again. I think I've already found some of my favorite there.
Which one is that?
The ones that are into agriculture.
Okay.
You know, as you grow older, you get to realize that one of the indicators of you growing old is realizing you can't finish a bottle of soda. Then you know you're growing old.
I can finish it from a glass.
So when you go on such kind of tables and look out and you get to realize you're interested in agriculture things, then you realize you're actually growing way older.
Okay.
But ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite you back. We're about to go live on BBS, Telefina Airfare, and also we will be live on NTV. So how I want to welcome you back to take your seats. We'll be back on those tables. Don't you worry about that. We have some time, Mumasokao, where we'll be able to
exhibit more.
Exhibit more, and then we shift more. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be waiting on you just so that we are able to be to start officially, and I'm about to invite someone of very much importance to officially open up, but I'll do that after having you sit. And of course, our chief guest, Damali, is here with us as well, and also our patron will be joining us, Honorable, and of course, with your other distinguished guests, thank you very much for coming, exhibitors as well. And also our panelists are here with us, so in just 1 or 2 minutes we'll be good to go. Welcome back from the second wave of COVID. How I don't stand here again to welcome you back from the third one. So SOPs should definitely be observed so that we at least prevent ourselves from going back to the third one. But of course, allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to officially welcome you for these 40 days, 40 fintechs level 1 projects. Those are hashtags we should definitely be using on our social media platforms. But yes, fintechs and landscape exhibition program that we're doing for the very second time, and this is just the beginning, many more to come ahead. And of course, like always, our mayor said that make sure that he loves to see every Ugandan digitally included.
Yes, and we surely appreciate that. And we appreciate High People for this initiative. A round of applause for High People. Everyone, are you there? Hello? Okay, then.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, those that have taken their seats and those that are about to take their seats, join with me in hands to welcome the CEO, High People, and the Lord Mayor, Mr. Innocent Kawoya.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all, and I thank you for making time to be a part of Season 2 of the FinTech Landscape Exhibition, a place that I personally regard as an environment for the best innovators and creators that this continent has. Our chief guest, Damali Sali, Our patron will be arriving later, Honorable David Karubanga. Professor Maggie Chigozi in absentia, one person that has supported us for quite a long time, enthusiastically. The fintechs that are exhibiting today, the pioneers, I'll mention a few, Dr. Ronald, and all the others. The viewers, live on TV and online, I greet you all, and I'm happy to see you here today and to host you as high people. We're very excited for being able to run an initiative such as 40 Days for the Fintechs, one that has seen a lot of discovery in terms of understanding not only what fintech is supposed to be for us as digital innovators, but also to making sure that fintech solves and helps very many people get out of poverty. Season 2 of the Fintech Landscape Exhibition, that is the culmination of the 40 Days for the Fintechs initiative, comes differently, as you may have seen for those who were here last year. There are a number of those that are exhibiting. There is quite a number of activities that have been happening over the last 40 days. And we're very excited to have very many of the other participants, the banks, the telecom operators, and aggregators, and everyone that is in the space. Financial technology is not a thing for only the innovators. It needs a lot of funding, so donors and foundations have to come in place. Regulation is a very big discussion lately in the country, and policymakers now have to come in place. Bank of Uganda, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of ICT, and the government more generally, to making sure that there is a very conducive environment that is created to make sure that fintech innovators and all other innovators in the digital space are able to solve problems and save so many lives. I'm very excited. It doesn't feel like we've taken 40 days running this initiative. For me, it feels like we did 11 days, because every day was a smooth one, very exciting, and very detailed, to the point that every single innovation that came out speaks out to a lot of things that have been done. Today, when an innovator like MTN Mobile Money comes and they have been able to enable a bank like NCBA have 9.7 million accounts, speaks to the depth of what digital innovation can be. High people that started on the 13th of September 2005, today speaks to 17 years of us being in the space. And we can't be more proud having been here and being able to do everything that we've done. I'm very excited that this day is happening today. And before I say welcome all of you here, allow me get off topic and wish my elder brother that founded High People, and I joined later, a happy birthday, because today is the 2nd of September, and some many years, maybe 50 years ago, he was born. So I welcome you all. Thank you for always making time to be a part of this call. Thank you for being the innovators you are, because you are making a difference to this world. I expect us to have a very fantastic day, full of ideas, full of great discussions, and full of discoveries that are going to change the world and make sure that we create an environment and an economy that includes everyone. I bring you all greetings from our generous sponsors, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, through their Level 1 Project Initiative. Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy your stay.
Thank you very much. I do not know why, but you will always be my mayor. Please, let's give it up one more time for him. Yeah, we need a mayor who loves technology and understands technology, and that's Innocent. Hey, happy birthday, Ndugu. But let's sing for him a happy birthday song, honestly speaking. 1, 2, 3, enter. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Grandpa. Happy birthday to... Yes, happy birthday. Oh my goodness. And to all of you your birthdays today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, allow me invite the COO. Hi, people. Mr. Nicholas. Let's clap for him one more time, ladies and gentlemen. It's going for these panel discussions. Again, also I want a quick reminder, if you're to sit here as a panelist, these microphones are very adjustable, so feel free to adjust it to a level that you feel very comfortable, that you could actually hear what you say. Other than that, you're most welcome, sir.
Thank you. Morning, everyone. My name is Nicholas Kalunji, COO Hi People. Thank you for coming for the second edition of the FinTech Landscape Exhibition, which is a conclusion of the 40 Days for the FinTechs project. This year we had 42 participants, including the very big ones and the small ones. We shall mention them at a later time. The first panel discussion we are having today is going to rotate around how you send money from M-Pesa to MTN Mobile Money, how we send money from Stanbic Bank to Airtel Money, among others. And to join me on this panel discussion, Interoperability, the future of inclusive real-time payments, allow me welcome Mr. Ronald Azaire, the Managing Director of Pegasus Limited. Also allow me welcome John Mark Sebunya, who's a senior FinTech platforms developer. Allow me welcome Paul Tamale, who's the manager electronic banking at Stanbic Bank. And lastly, allow me welcome Mr. Stefan Mutana, who's the CEO of MTN Mobile Money Uganda Limited. Like you know very well, recently after the passing of the National Payments Services Act, companies separated their mobile money operations from mainstream operation. Since then, there is a new company on the market called MTN Mobile Money Uganda Limited. And its CEO is with us here today, Mr. Stefan Mutana. Thank you very much. Before I start, I'll ask the team of my panel to say hi to each one of you. Within 30 seconds, I'll start with Mr. Ronald, and we'll end Mr. Potamale.
Is it still morning? Good morning, everyone. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here, and I'd like to congratulate Hi People for putting up this exhibition. So we look forward to a very fruitful discussion.
Thank you, Ronald. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the energy and the creativity in this room. I mean, I just feel it. I walked in and the guys I've met right out there at the back. Thank you for this, and congratulations, Hi People, for setting this up.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to be here with you. Thank you, team, for organizing the exhibition.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Paul Tamale, as was mentioned, and to congratulate Hi People for the setup, and to basically thank all of you who have made the time to be here. Looking forward to great discussions ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now that we know his Paul, his Mark, his Stefan, and his Ronald, we are going into real business immediately. The event is live on BBS TV, BBS Telefina. Why BBS TV again? Just for avoidance of doubt, FinTech will be very big in Africa if the last mile people are included. And we believe the last mile people usually speak a language that's not what we are speaking here. So we are sending them this message, but later they are Luganda translations of what has been said. So we are trying to reach the person at the bottom of the pyramid. To start, I will ask this question to both John Mark Sebunya and Potamale. I hope you will use 2.5 minutes each. The question is very simple. Everyone is talking about financial interoperability. What we need to know with clear examples, what do you mean when you say financial interoperability? With some examples, starting with Paul.
Thank you very much. And that's a great question. So financial interoperability is about everything and everyone. We have lived for a while, and we know that for our lives to move on, we do need to be playing a part in the financial ecosystem, be it to live your lifestyle or be it to extend the service that you're offering. You do need to be playing in the financial industry. Now, what has happened is that this is an industry that has been dominated by the banking sector. And due to disruption in technology, the evolution of platforms that are running our social lives on the go, there's also a demand to say, okay, how can we create something similar from a payment perspective? And you've seen that technology has also allowed the evolution of fintechs. So you don't only run your financial life on all the platforms that are powered by the banks as it used to be. There's now other players in the form of fintechs, in the form of network operators. And the question about interoperability is, how do we bring all of this together so that we can, if you like, remove the friction that is there when you need to do a transaction that's across the different players? If you have got money, as an example, on your mobile network operator, what does it take for you to land that onto your bank account, or to land the same to a beneficiary across another part of the globe? What does it take? At the moment, many of you would know, you might have to do, say, a number of steps. If you're to send money abroad, for example, you need to go draw the money in cash, find a remittance player somewhere who you'll then use to send that money, or you might need to draw money from your mobile money wallet, go end up in a bank, and then send that instruction as a SWIFT instruction. You don't get to be advised immediately in some of the cases that the money has been received on the other side, because it does take a while because of the platforms that we're having, being traditional in nature. So that's the kind of environment that we're living in at the moment, and saying, okay, if we had all the platforms that are empowering this global ecosystem come together, what would it look like? And the benefits to that are enormous. You get to enable real-time payments, you get to shorten the journey of having to transact anywhere, anytime, and of course, you then quicken the speed at which business is being done, and generally improve the quality of lives that people are living.
Thank
That
you,
is what I would say at this stage.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks.
Yes, John Mark, tell us with layman examples, what
Thank
do you
you.
mean when you say financial capability?
Thank you, Nicholas, for that question. When we talk financial interoperability, we need to be reminded that this word interoperability is coming in because we are trying to drive financial inclusion. So the bigger topic is financial inclusion, under which we find the requirement for interoperability. So we can draw back and ask ourselves, why have we been so obsessed about financial inclusion? We've been so obsessed about financial inclusion because we came to the realization that for us to achieve sustainable development goals, no poverty, no hunger, economic opportunity for everyone, we need people who have transactional accounts, accounts that are with formal financial institutions. Now, in this case, formal financial institutions include banks, mobile money operators, and different other fintech players who are currently regulated by the central bank, like in Uganda. Now, while we came to the realization that we need people to have these accounts, the question was, how are these accounts usable? If I need to move money between my account, say in Bank X, Stanbic Bank, to MTN, what is the kind of hurdle that I need to go through? If I need to move money between MTN and Airtel, what is the kind of hurdle I need to go through? So there was a realization that while people got accounts, there was limitations in usage because the different players were not interconnected. So for someone to move money between, say, a bank and a telecom, or a telecom and another telecom, they needed to go through a heavy exercise of providing papers, documentation for that transaction to happen. So fast forward, we are looking at interoperability as a means whereby we can have all the ecosystem financial players connected together, and then we can have transfer of funds between the operators in a seamless, real-time way. We could be privy of knowing that interoperability is not just about the transfer of funds, as me transferring funds to a friend. It includes more than that. It can be merchant payments. You need to be able to go to a merchant store somewhere in your neighborhood. It could be a supermarket. You need to go there, whether you have an account with MTN, an account with Stanbic, an account with another operator. You need to go there with the comfort that any account that you hold can be used to make payment. So this merchant in this case can accept your payment from anywhere. So that is a level of interoperability that we need to be at. We could also be in the know that there are what we call open loop payments. Things like Visa and MasterCard have been before us. Of course, they're more advanced in the West, but these are examples of where interoperability has gone to scale. Now, in our case, in Uganda and Africa, we're looking at interoperability not just in the light of Visa and MasterCard. We're looking at interoperability between all ecosystem players, all banks, all mobile money operators, all fintechs. How do we connect and be able to make transactions in real time, seamlessly, secure for everyone? Thank you.
And I hope you have a lovely time. Thank you.
Knowing that MTN Mobile Money Uganda Limited is one of the biggest players in the digital financial service systems in Uganda, how then do we pursue the idea of financial interoperability? Maybe to rephrase the question, how is MTN Mobile Money Uganda Limited making sure that when you send off mobile money, I receive on Stanbic, when you send off mobile money MTN, I receive on Airtel Money? Stefan.
Thank you very much, Nicholas, and I think it's good morning once again. I agree with what the previous speakers, John, Paul, have said. I think, before I answer your question, broadly, payments are a foundational service. And the banks, for hundreds of years, have evolved payments. They even have, payment standards, real-time gross settlement, for both international and domestic payments. So the banks have developed that for many years. And as Paul mentioned, due to technology and all that, the fintech came in. And we usually call it around the edge, probing, resolving things on behalf of customers. And as John said, it's about the customer. The whole reason we do all these things is because you're solving for a problem that people face every day. Every day people face problems. So when you start talking of things being real-time, things being secure, convenient, safe, you're answering to human requirements. So when it comes to interoperability, and I really have to delve a little bit here. Usually when businesses start out with a new category, every business kind of designs for itself. So you have what you call closed systems. So you have MTN Momo, you have Airtel Money, you have all sorts of other systems. Go back to any industry, even telephony, mobile telephony. Interconnect came up many years later. Roaming, which is even interconnecting beyond your borders, it was a standard that was developed by GSMA many, many years later, okay? So there's an evolution to these things. And now you then get the new, what we call digital nomads. New organizations, the OTTs, who from day one do not think about closed systems. For them, it's just open. The Googles of this world, the Amazons. So within that context, you then realize that there has to be a balance somewhere. And that balance, especially when you're looking at the reason we do business, which is the customers. the small businesses, the big businesses. Interoperability then, yes, John Mark mentioned, it's around financial inclusion, absolutely. But it's also about bringing power and control back to the customer, back to that business. Because once there's interoperability, they then have more control over their decisions, they have choice, and they can express themselves in so many ways. So like John mentioned, with one wallet, I know I will go somewhere and I will be able to pay whether it's another merchant wallet, for instance. So interoperability is at a number of levels. Today, most basically...
Maybe,
P2P.
sorry for interjecting.
Yeah.
I will request you look on the microphone.
Maybe P2P. You know there's that was, I think, first level of interoperability between, for the P2P level, where you can actually send money off MTN to Airtel, Airtel to MTN, okay? Then there's the banks, the bank integrations from your bank accounts into your mobile wallet and vice versa. And very soon, there's going to be a level of interoperability at a merchant level, very soon, merchant level. And this could be domestic, or it could even be regional. So for instance, somebody on M-Pesa service can actually, tourists come into Uganda, and they would probably be able to do a transaction, maybe in a supermarket or a pharmacy, using the M-Pesa wallet to do a Momo Pay transaction. So these are all, this is about solving for people. So at the broad end of things, interoperability is about solving for people, but at a much broader level, which is societal level, even the government and regulators would be interested in interoperability because it's about seamlessness, it's about efficiency, it's about giving options. Open systems are usually more engendering of innovation than closed systems. Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Mtan always says that it's always about the people, the customers. Whatever we are doing is supposed to serve customers. If it doesn't serve customers, you are not doing anything anyway. Ronald, now that the gentleman before you have said everything that needs to be in place, as a player who has been around for 16 years, I need to know from you, is there proper regulation to ensure that financial interoperability happens, one? Then two, are players, MTN, Airtel, Stanbic, Pegasus, open to the idea of interoperability, or they still want to operate in silos? And lastly, it is 1 in 3. If all those are not existent, what needs to happen for financial interoperability to be seamless and continuous anytime, anywhere?
Okay, those are very, very interesting questions, and let me try and see if I can remember the order. Firstly, is there an enabling framework, a legal framework or legislation, as you said, to enable interoperability? Now, one of the tenets of interoperability, remember, interoperability really is about porting services from one platform to another. For that to happen, there's got to be standards that exist between these two systems. And when I say porting of services from one platform to another, I really mean that the two systems should be able to exchange information. And if system A is initiating a transaction, and let's say system A here, I'm talking about MTN Mobile Money, is initiating a request to Airtel Money, which is system B, it does that by transmitting information to system B, and system B should be able to trust that instruction from system A and go ahead to process it. So it's really about the exchange of information. That's what interoperability is at a very technical level. Now, for that to happen, there's got to be a standard. What's the standard by which these two systems communicate? So in terms of legislation, I think there's already been some sort of effort to do that. The first one was, I think, the Data Protection and Privacy Act by NITA. And what that did is it forces everyone that holds data to follow a certain standard. Those of you who are not familiar with that Data Protection and Security Act, kindly familiarize yourself with it, but it's binding. And if you know that for your organization you've put that into practice, then I can trust the information from your system. I can also trust the kind of information I give you. I know that you're going to protect it. I know that you're going to use it in a way that's not going to, it's not going to end up in places where it shouldn't end up, and so on and so forth. So that was the first. The second bit was the legislation around the National Payment Systems Act 2020, which seeks to regulate companies that offer financial services. And this has been a whole lot more elaborate because it looks at the operations of the companies that are involved in financial systems. And because of that, it gives the companies that would interoperate confidence about each other. If I'm a holder of a certificate or a license from the central bank, and banks have been at this forever, Bank A is able to trust Bank B because they know Bank B has gone through the rigors of the regulation of the central bank in the way they handle data, in the way they interpret that data, in the way they store that data, and so on. Now that the central bank has moved that level of legislation, of oversight to the other financial service providers, it gives the comfort within the industry players that they can be trusted. And once trust has been established, then it gives rise to interoperability, because now I can go to Mr. Mutana and tell him, look, can I plug into your API and be able to send you information? And he'll say, can I see your certificate from the central bank? Are you a bona fide provider of financial services? If I produce that, because he's gone through the same rigors to get that license, he will know that I am a bona fide provider, and therefore my systems are stable, they are secure, and so on and so forth. So that trust already gives that. So yes, there is a bit of legislation, and that legislation, of course, it can be improved, and I'm sure it will be improved with time. So in terms of the legal framework to enable interoperability, the answer is yes. I think the second question was, is there appetite for it? Having been in the industry 16, now almost 17 years, are we comfortable doing interoperability, or do we like working in silos? I think the short answer is that yes, there is not just the appetite, but there's also the need. Remember, at the end of the day, we are trying, as my colleagues eloquently put it, we're trying to make sure the customer who is consuming our services has no barriers. You imagine for a moment if the only calls you could ever make were to the telecom to which you subscribe. Imagine if the only calls you could ever make were to MTN. And if you had to call someone on Airtel, you had to go and look for an Airtel phone and then call the person on Airtel. It is that same limitation we're trying to remove in financial services. The portability of services across different platforms. So, is there a need? Yes. Is there appetite there? I think the simple answer is yes. And the way systems, the way companies have begun, and I was happy to hear my colleague, Mr. Mutana, speaking about open systems as opposed to closed ones. I think that it's a paradigm shift where they recognize, and not just them, but everyone, that the only way to survive is not to protect what you have, but to share it. It's a paradox that when you share it, then you get more. When Mr. Mutana allows people on Airtel to send money to MTN Mobile Money, what is in effect doing? He's expanding the scope of the number of people that can actually send money into his ecosystem. So he benefits in doing that. So it has both a financial advantage for him, but also it allows, where he could easily protect, say, his 11 million subscribers, and say Airtel won't have a share of those, and Airtel goes and protects their own group. They're now saying, we will open it up, and together we'll have a group of 17-point-something million people that can send money across ecosystems. So the paradox is that in sharing is where you grow, actually. Right. And so, and banks have of course come up to say, let's be players in this. Let's allow people to move money from their mobile wallets into bank accounts. I think at the beginning there was a very big China wall between mobile wallets and bank accounts. That has fallen away now. We know that movement of money is very, very easy from mobile to bank and so on. But there's still a lot that can be done. I mean, it's still nascent times. But there's so much innovation, and I'm glad we have a room of innovators here. I've been going around and hearing some of the innovations that are going on that are going to completely obliterate the walls between the different platforms. What was the third question again?
You have answered the questions. You mixed the second or the third one. Competently, you have.
Sorry,
Yeah, you have answered both the 3 questions.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now that these 4 gentlemen have said very good things about financial interoperability, I want to make them a little uncomfortable. Mr. Mutana and Mr. Tamale, I'm going to call you by your surname, sorry. Why is financial interoperability very expensive? Why is it that when I'm sending money from MTN to Airtel, where I send and I'm charged MTN to MTN 600 shillings, MTN to Airtel I'm charged 2,000, among others. Remember, Stefan, you always say you are targeting with the customers. Why are you making it impossible for us? Why is it very expensive? 2 minutes to Mr. Mutana and 2 minutes to Mr. Potamale.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. Pricing is a very important, and any entrepreneur, and the guys are out at the back will know that pricing is a key component of what constitutes value to a person. Now, we've had these discussions on interoperability, not just, MTN Airtel, but even thinking wider at an African level, how we can make these wallets interoperable, because people move. Remember, I always said, go back to the person. People move, okay? People are moving from Nigeria to Uganda, Uganda to Ghana, and whatever, and they have these mobile wallets. So they want those things to work. They don't want to get to a country and then have to register and set up the same, a country-specific wallet. So always solve for the people of business issue. They're business travelers, they're tourists, and they want to have one wallet, okay? Now, why is interoperability deemed to be expensive? I'll give you a very, very small example just around mobile money. So you guys know that today, mobile money, and if you look at the evolution of mobile money, is that it has an agent network, right? Those amazing men, women, young people who are out there in the kiosks, who are out there at arm's length for you to be able to cash in, cash out, right? And you know that when you cash in, do you pay? Do you pay when you cash in?
No.
So you don't pay. Okay. Someone has to pay. Someone has to pay for that entrepreneur to cover their rent, to cover their costs. They need to eat. And then there's the risk. They are handling cash. Unfortunately, you've also heard of situations where they've been accosted, haven't you? Yeah. So business exists within society. Now, specifically to that point, whenever any cash-in happens, there's a commission that is paid to that agent. Now, as Ronald pointed out, imagine there's interoperability between, say, Airtel and MTN. Remember, for that e-value that is flowing between these different systems, either partner has paid for that e-value to be created because they have to pay that agent, and the customer doesn't. That's the model we have today, okay? So there is a cost to that e-float, and that's why you'll see when there's interoperability, there's usually that cost. Now, your next question is, why is it kind of premium to on-net, or what I call P2P? P2P within or cash out within specific networks. Now, that is where the opportunity lies. We must bring down that cost between ourselves. And there are ongoing talks between us to make sure that we can make it easier for people to exchange dreams, do business, to invest, because at the end of the day, we're looking at it as e-value, but there are real strategic reasons behind these money movements, okay? So we are, as industry players, talking about it, and I believe in the very near future, you may see some changes. Yes.
Fair. Paul, tell me. Why are you very expensive? When I'm sending money from Stanbic to my Standard Chartered, it becomes very expensive. Yet when I'm sending from MTN to MTN, it is very cheap. Why are you making our lives unbearable?
So I'll agree with my previous colleague. It's all about the costs that we incur to deliver that service. You'll find that we've got licenses we're maintaining, we've got infrastructure, we've got an agent network, we've got a whole technology suite that we run to see that we can offer that service. Those are not details we'll offer you, the customer, beforehand to tell you this is what it goes through, but that's what happens at the back of it. But interestingly is, and it might come up along the way, is that we're still running our businesses as silos. I look at the banking business as a bank, and I look at its survival that way. I look at you, the customer, helping me meet the several costs that I meet. So does my partner at a mobile network operator. Perhaps, and as my colleague mentioned, if we sat down and looked at the entire ecosystem that we're powering, and we looked at the value that can be generated by reducing that cost, and we looked at the opportunities that are opened up, there's enormous opportunity for us to lower that cost. And of course, the other thing that we need to think about is that it might not be our own initiative, but it might come from regulation. You've seen what has happened in neighboring Rwanda, where the government woke up and said, no, for transferring money from your wallet to your own account should be free, and the other way. So what that then means is that increasingly we must heighten the conversation and look forward to partnering more to see that we can eventually offer those services cheaper. And we don't need to really wait for the regulator to come in and say, okay, this is how you should do it.
Thank you. We are talking interoperability. John Mark helped me understand. The gentlemen, again, have not given commitment on when the costs will go down, but they have promised that Pegasus is talking with MTN, MTN is talking with Stanbic. Very soon, we hope the costs will go down. Moving forward, there are several things that are being done, but among the things that we are pushing is what we call best practices. John Mark, in your opinion, what level 1 project principle can best help us achieve financial inclusion, and why?
Thank you. Very interesting question. I know 40 Days 40 Fintechs has been anchored on level 1 principles, a very good thing. I would want to pose a question to all of us to think through. If on a Friday evening you wanted to move money between Standard Chartered Bank to your bank, it could be Bank X, Stanbic, Centenary, how would you quickly think you would do that? Now, while you ask yourself that question, I would give you a scenario that I've seen colleagues who on a Friday evening want to move money between banks, but because they are thinking that if I move this money at 3 p.m., it will be in the other bank on Monday morning or Monday afternoon. So what this person decides to do is like, you know what, let me rush to the bank, withdraw 2 million from this bank, then go and post it in the other bank so it can be there within an hour. What does that tell us? It tells us the inherent need for instant payment, the inherent need for real time, which we are not meeting. Now, interoperability at its core, and as defined within level 1 principles, real time is one of the principles that we need to adhere to if we are going to drive value with interoperability. People are accustomed to, if I give you 50,000, at that very instant, you trust in the 50,000, nothing else you need to check, you have your money, you go, deal closed. Now, if I have to wait for the deal to be closed on a Monday, because between MTN and Airtel and the banks, they're saying this transaction will be cleared and settled on Monday, then I won't have interoperability. So to your question, real-time payments is a cornerstone for interoperability to drive value. The other level 1 principle that we have to look at is what they call tiered KYC. I made in my earlier submission that interoperability comes up as a topic because of financial inclusion. Now, if you have your relative somewhere in a village who needs to make payments, but for whatever reasons, they don't have a national ID, they can't get a bank account, they can't get a mobile money account, you are excluding them. So for you to see value for these people, first you need to make sure that it can be included. You need what they call tiered KYC. We should be at the level whereby everyone within this ecosystem can have an account. The moment we get to that level, then we can see the value within interoperability. So the people are included with the tiered KYC. Then you can come to say, now you can move money between MTN and Airtel, or you can move money between MTN and Stanbic. It could be limited because of your KYC, but at least we have included you. Now, this is beneficial for everyone. The more people that are included, the more transaction volumes, the better for the ecosystem. Now, my colleagues have talked about the cost, to the question that you asked. They talked about the cost to deliver the service, rightly so. The businesses doing this service are
commercial entities. They need to make profit. They need to sustain their business. But as they're doing so, they need to minimize costs. Now, as an ecosystem, we need to look at ways of how do you drive down the costs. For instance, if MTN is charging 2,000, how can we have a business model whereby that 2,000 at one time becomes 200? For us to go that line, we need to collaborate on the rates. We need to put in place where MTN was supposed to connect to 20 banks directly and have to maintain this infrastructure. We need to put in rails like switches where
MTN makes one integration, so technically it's managing just one integration. Now, this brings down its cost, and it brings down the cost of everyone. So when you put in switches that are built on the principles, level 1 principles, principles of real time, principles of shared KYC, shared fraud information, then we are going to drive down the cost for everyone. And as we drive it down, then your cost of moving money between the different players will significantly come down. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. I see Ronald has been following closely, and I know Ronald is always open to improving Pegasus each and every day. Now, Ronald, I want to learn from you. I always learn from you whenever you are speaking. Yeah, there is so much talk again about financial interoperability, but also talk about open loop systems, open source real-time payment systems like Moja Loop, among others. I need to learn from you. How ready is our market, in this case Uganda, for open loop and open source systems? How ready are we, and how safe are they anyway?
Maybe let me start from the end and come back to the beginning. How safe are they? I believe open source has evolved over the years to a level now where it's quite reliable, quite dependable, almost as dependable as the proprietary systems, perhaps even more, because you have many people contributing to this platform or whatever. So the shared ideas of all of these people together have made these platforms very robust, the open source systems, very robust, very stable, very secure, and so on. So for me, the question is not so much the fear of stability or security, but the question of readiness is something else. Again, Mark just talked about something very interesting about if MTN was to make just one connection, one integration, and then from that one integration be able to connect to several people, as opposed to MTN connecting to Stanbic, MTN connecting to Airtel, MTN connecting to AfriCell, MTN connecting to DFCU, and so on and so forth, which obviously drives up their cost and also increases the complexity. The answer which he proposed, which would be switches, the flip question then is, who owns that switch? Where is that switch? Who owns that switch? Who pays for that switch? Of course, if everyone is paying for that switch, obviously that makes it cheaper, and I agree with him at that point. The question is, what is that switch and what's the technology of that switch that everyone could plug into and be able to access all those things? Previously, players like Pegasus tried to do that. They tried to position themselves as that guy in the middle between banks, telecoms, utilities, so that with one connection to Pegasus, for example, you're able to connect to banks, you're able to connect to utilities, you're able to connect to taxpayers, the URAs, and so on and so forth, with just one connection. Now, imagine if that was open source, and it wasn't proprietary, it was open source and anyone could plug in there. I think that there would be an advantage. The question is, are we ready? And for me, the short answer is yes, there's been efforts in the things like Moja Loop, but I do not yet feel the readiness of such things happening. And I think these conversations need to be had. One of the first things we need to do is, just like we are having now a conversation about cost, and it not only raises awareness, especially from the owners of the platform, to realize that the need from the markets that cost goes down. So even from us as service providers, we need to begin to have a conversation about open source. How can we incorporate open source? How can we make sure we have shared resources, we have platforms that anyone can plug into easily, we have open APIs and so on and so forth. So I do not believe we are ready yet, but I think the conversation has started and the awareness has been raised. About a year ago, we had this very same conversation, I think, at the Sheraton, and again, we are speaking about the same concept. So the idea that it's beginning to be discussed, for me, is a very big step forward.
Sure, thank you. As we conclude, my partners on TV are telling me we are running short. I'm going to begin with you, Ronald. Briefly, with very few words, 1 minute each. I want you to give the audience and people on live TV assurance on what Pegasus is doing to empower small businesses. 1 minute. What Pegasus is doing to empower small businesses.
What have we done to empower small businesses? Firstly, again, we've gone ahead and done connections into nearly everything. So we are that one-stop center which, if a business plugged into, they already have connections into Umeme, National Water, URA, DSTV, KCCA, mobile money, Airtel money, banks, and so on and so forth. So we are that guy in the middle that you connect to and able to do that. Of course, we also offer value-added services like USSD platforms, which ideally, if a business were to go out and acquire on its own short code, its own menus, that would be extremely expensive. So we have those value-added services like USSD, which we offer free of charge to our customers, and of course, SMS, which is not free because we have to buy it as well. But essentially, that is what we've done. We've been able to say we're the one-stop center where you connect and have connectivity into any of the other big players in the market.
Thank you, Ronald. Stefan, just 2 minutes. How is MTN MomoPay supporting women businesses? How are you helping women through MTN MomoPay?
Thank you for that question. So straight up, I would say we've not deliberately, targeted ladies for MomoPay, but through stakeholder engagement, we do get the need to get the women agenda more mainstream. But realistically, I would tell you that remember, MomoPay has two plays. It has the formal, you go into your drugstore, a pharmacy, supermarket. That is a formal kind of MomoPay. But you also have the informal. You go into the hardware shop, the Duka. And that is business in a box, because with that product, as I mentioned, you're able to sell airtime at 4%, you're able to do assisted payments, for school fees, for utilities. So it's like a business in a box. Whatever that person, whatever the business, there's added revenue lines there. And you know that in this country, women are a backbone of a business. The small, medium enterprises, the medium enterprises, you have women owning, creating, designing, and playing significant roles. So I would say, you know, by the nature of women's participation in business anyway, so it's already a product that's being utilized by them. But I think also I'd like to say that specifically for business, you have something called Momo Business, which is coming up. And that is like Momo Pay on steroids for business. And it's specifically for businesses, small, medium businesses, making it less friction for them in terms of the payments they do, the collections, the invoicing, the business-to-business payments. So there's a whole suite of things coming up there.
Sure, thank you. Yes, Paul, I'll conclude with Mark. Paul, tell us, how is Stanbic Bank supporting informal businesses? I know the formal ones are getting a lot of support, but I want to know informal businesses that are that need payments, e-commerce among others. How is your bank helping us with the small businesses?
Okay, so as Stanbic, as you know, we've evolved from being a bank to a holding company, where we're now a bank. We've got a premise running business, we've got a fintech business, and also a learning and development business that is supporting several businesses in learning best practices in the different areas that they are. But importantly, to talk about our Fly Hub, part of the business, which is now coming up with solutions, joining the other fintechs in building those quick solutions that our businesses so much need to see that we can drive and enhance payments in our local market. That is something that we are able to do now, as opposed to when we were simply running as a bank. That is how we are coming in.
Sure, thank you very much. Yes, John Mark, as we conclude, 1.5 minutes. In your opinion, as a developer,
Thank you, Nicholas. Now, to answer your question on what must be done, I would look at it in two angles. One, industry collaboration. Initiatives like 40 Days for the Fintechs are driven by the level 1 principles, are promoting the collaboration on the message to say players, is it banks, is it fintechs, mobile money operators? Do you appreciate that instant nature of of money, instant nature of payments is something that we need to improve? Now, once we get this message with everyone, be more assured that someone thinking of a product in MTN, in Airtel, in Stanbic, will be asking themselves, is this product delivering instant? Is it real time? So I believe collaboration through these kinds of projects is one of the essential elements for us to drive interoperability and then real time. Now, the other angle of collaboration that we should look at is going to be more on building the technology rails. So while we might have these discussions, we should also now be thinking on what exactly do we require from a technology perspective to achieve real time. So that's the point I think we've made earlier. Do we need a switch for everyone to connect to? Does the closed loop have to open up? And then we bring in what we call open APIs. such that Stanbic, MTN, Pegasus, they are all talking the same language as the API level. So the opening up the system in that case is going to be very important from a technology perspective. And again, lastly, still driven from level 1 principles, there is a principle that is called same day, same settlement among level 1 principles. Now, the principle same day, same settlement is a strong principle, whereby while MTN, for instance, can enable an e-commerce player, some of the ones I've seen are demonstrating, MTN can enable them collect money in real time. But are they delivering the money to the person who delivered the agriculture product also on the same day? That also is critical if we're going to drive the agenda of real-time and interoperability. So the principle of real-time that is part of level 1 principles and same-day, same settlement should be something that we always reflect on, we always think about as players, MTN, Stanbic. When you're collecting all these people's money, they are merchants, think about, are you enabling them to pay on the same day? That can even be made better, to say same hour, if possible. And of course, the ultimate is the moment I collect the payment, whoever is my supplier gets their cut of the payment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I have a lot of questions coming in. There are over 20. Unfortunately, we can't answer them here. But I can assure whoever sent questions, the gentlemen are here. I'm going to speak to them again. We are going to organize sessions for each one of them because I've seen 4 questions going to Ronald. I've seen 6 questions on my phone going to Stefan Montana alone. Of course, many of them are complaining because MTN is expensive on Airtel, but that we shall discuss in that session. I've seen 3 questions to John Mark and several of them to Stanbic. Why they are not very open to young developers like those behind there. But at the right time, we shall answer the questions. Gentlemen, thank you so much. I request you to go out for a photo moment for the 4 of you as I invite the next moderator, who will be Cleopatra, the CEO of Club Tangaza. Cleopatra will be taking on the next panel session. Gentlemen, and please take your leave. Like I've said, Cleopatra is the CEO of Club Tangaza. Club Tangaza is an organization that is empowering young kids through coding, teaching them how to code, among other things. Yes, Cleo, I'll ask you to go and use the microphone on the other side. Thank you very much. As we wait, yes. The next panel, as Cleopatra takes the stand, the panelists on the next panel are Wendy Namfo from Jumo. We have Esther Carrere from Ize Agric. We have Ivan Ojakol, who is a trade and technology lawyer. We have Nelson Kituka, who is the managing director of Card Pesa. We also have Mr. Ronald Rakigumba, who is an inclusive digital finance services consultant with UNCDF. Those are our next panelists, please. Yes, hi. How are you doing? All right, on the microphone, please. Thank you, thank you. Yes, to those watching us on BBS Telefina, panel esoose ebadde eyogera ku ngeri omuntu gy'asobola okuweereza ssente ne ziva mu Stanbic Bank ne zigenda ku MTN, ne ziva mu MTN Mobile Money ne zigenda ku Airtel. Abaami ababaddewo ku panel esoose babadde bava mu Stanbic Bank, MTN, Pegasus, batugambye nti newankubadde emiwendo gy'okuweereza okuva ku mukutu ogumu ogenda ku mulala gikyali waggulu, bakola buli kisoboka okugezaako okugikendeeza. Era batuwadde essuubi nti maaso awo ojja kubanga almost ssente zezimu z'oweerereza okuva ku MTN okudda ku MTN, zezimu nez'oweerereza okuva ku Airtel n'okudda ku MTN, oba okuva mu Sentinel okudda mu Equity. Mwebale nnyo. Thank you very much. Over to you, Cleo.
Oh, thank you so much. Hi, everybody. I'm so grateful to Hi People organizing this event. I think I'm not alone. Hi People and the team are so grateful, especially us at Club Tangaza. Okay. For those of you who have been at our stall, you could place us under EduTech. So we are thrilled that we get to feature in season 2 along the wonderful and powerful and as well as the small fintechs. So Nicholas already called up the panel. Panel, you're welcome. Okay, so we are going to introduce ourselves again so that the audience get to know who is who. I'll start with the ladies. Wendy, you're going first.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm Wendy Namfo. I'm the Country Operations Coordinator for Jumo World Uganda. Do you need me to brief the audience what we do? So Jumo is the market-leading banking as a service platform that enables transfer of funds real-time to customers at the lowest operational cost possible. Currently, we are in partnership with Airtel Uganda, offering the Wewole product.
Okay, thank you, Wendy. Yes.
Hi, everyone. Is it still good morning? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Esther Carrera. I'm the head of business development and marketing and a co-founder at Easier Greek. We are an agtech company, Uganda founded. Mobile phones. Yeah, so we're an agtech company, Uganda founded, committed to creating solutions for farmers, very farmer-centric, providing an end-to-end solution on AgriShop for production needs, for records, and up to market for smallholder farmers across Uganda. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Esther. Welcome to the panel. The gentleman next, we'll start with Ivan.
Hi everyone, my name is Ivan Ojakol. I've been introduced as a tech and trade lawyer, but for purposes of this event, I'll be a tech lawyer. I'm attached to Origo Advocates, and I regularly advise leading startups, e-commerce companies, and what have you on matters concerning the legal and regulatory aspects as far as technology is concerned. I'm happy to be here, and I'm grateful to High People for organizing this event.
Thank you, Ivan. Next up, Nelson.
Thank you, Gloria. My name is Nelson Chituka. I am the managing director of a company called Discount Cards Limited, which trades under the trade name CardPesa. CardPesa is basically a tier 4 microfinance institution, which focuses mainly, in simple English, as a business that funds people's hustles. So we try to give you money on your phone to ensure you do your business.
Okay. Thank you, Nelson. Welcome to the panel. Last but not least, the marvelous Ronald.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here. My name is Ronald Rakibumba, and I work with the UN Capital Development Fund, and I focus on inclusive technologies in agriculture and finance. UNCDF focuses on using capital to unlock markets, especially in the 46 least developed countries, though I know that number is changing due to a wave in Southeast Asia where a lot of LDCs are coming up. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Ronald. Welcome to the panel. And then me, the phenomenal Cleopatra Kanyunyuzi, CEO of Club Tangaza. Please go ahead and check us out on our website, www.clubtangaza.com. I'm going to be moderating the panel in our second discussion, which is titled Women and Special Groups such as Youth, Persons with Disabilities, etc. Does regulation risk excluding some people from the formal financial ecosystem? So that's going to be our area of discussion. So let's talk regulation. Okay, we have what we call the National Payment Systems Act that was passed back in April this year. Okay, you're all aware about this. Okay, so it's basically about regulation. Okay, and regulation is a part of our day-to-day lives. right? We regulate what we eat. We regulate what our children are exposed to. We regulate so many things. So it's a very important aspect when it comes to different aspects of our lives, okay? So, Ivan, you're going to take the first question. What is the National Payment Systems Act?
Thank you very much. Well, it is an act that was enacted to regulate the payments industry. Some people say, I think it's a misnomer to regulate the fintech industry, because you and I know that fintech is beyond payments. But according to the central bank and the regulator and the policymakers, they claim it is an act that was enacted to regulate the fintech industry. So basically, it's there to set the rules as far as the payments industry is concerned, to improve efficiency as far as the payment industry is concerned, to give powers to the central bank as a supervisor and regulator of the payments industry. It comes with some revolutionary innovations in our market, or even in East Africa. For example, the regulatory sandbox, which you must give credit to the central bank for. Basically, a regulatory sandbox is within the payments ecosystem. You'll be allowed to test a product, and if it passes the test, then the regulator will upgrade it to the licensing categories. So they are under the National Payment Systems Act. There are three categories that are supposed to be licensed: an operator of a payment system, a payment service provider, and an issue of a payment instrument. People have criticized it for some of the stifling, depending on which side you sit. A regulator will say it is enabling or it is to regulate, while on the other side, an innovator or a player in the market will say it is stifling. Minimum capital requirements. So basically, this is when you're coming into the market, you must come, if for example, you're getting incorporated from a start at your OSB, this is the minimum capital that you need. If you're an operator of a payment system, for example, a large fund player, you're going to have 1 billion as your minimum capital requirement. Then alongside the minimum capital requirement will come licensing fees. For example, if a large player and a payment system operator, it's 25 million. So in addition to the minimum capital requirements, it will also be that. The regulator, of course, argues, and you cannot sometimes blame the regulator, that it is informed by what is going on around it, that it is informed by history. For example, last year there was an incident, and we all know about it. The regulator is always interested in consumer protection, as government getting some taxes, macroeconomic and microeconomic policy, financial stability, and what have you. At the same time, the regulator tries to balance that with encouraging innovation. The question is, does the minimum capital requirements and licensing fee encourage innovation? Or was this act in the first place meant for everyone in the market, or it was meant for certain players? So in a nutshell, that is the NPS Act. It comes along with 3 regulations: the agency regulations, the sandbox regulations, and the general regulations governing the payments industry. I don't know if you wanted me to go into more details, because there's a lot.
No, Ivan.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that.
Yes.
For those of you who didn't hear him very well when he was introducing himself, Ivan is a trade and technology lawyer, so he's speaking from a very informed point of view. Okay? So next up, still to answer the same question, we have the amazing Wendy. What is the National Payment Systems Act?
Thank you, Cleopatra. I don't know if I can be able to add to more than what Ivan has said. But I think for me, who is not in the legal field, I just know that it's an act that will be regulating payment systems, the providers of payment systems, of which some of them are our partners. It will also be giving setting what function BOE will be playing, which will definitely have an impact on some of the business that we do, because if they're regulating the providers and we're partnering with them, it's some sort of indirect regulation. We'll have to report to be able to support the partners that we work with. My thoughts are not very far from what Ivan said. I do appreciate certain aspects on in the Act, like the regulatory sandbox framework in section 16. And, I think this will drive inclusion, but again, there's some, on the other side, it's quite expensive to be able to even apply to participate in it because you need to prove a source of funds. Now, if we all know that our, like the guys back there who are coming up with these things where they're going to be getting the minimum, capital requirement, and then the license fees, and then the annual, money that they'll be renewing those licenses, somehow it's inclusive, but then also like it's a hard bar. Like even in the 6 months, let's say that you're given to try out operating without a license, is that enough time for those startups to be able to get capital to be able to prove that they can be licensed at that point? However, on a really good note, on some part of the people who would be able to, the systems that will be able to be eligible for these licenses, they do mention something that caught my attention around, regulating people giving licenses to people whose objective is to serve the unbanked and underbanked, which is also our objective as a company as Jumo, which is great. And also it further mentions later in another section that electronic money can be used for savings, credit, and also insurance products. So instead of a partner like me having to go and get a license, I can be able to do that with my partners instead, which is a good thing.
Okay, thank you so much, Wendy. So from what we've heard so far, there are majorly good remarks, but there is also that aspect of stifling, like Ivan said, for especially like the newcomers in the fintech domain. Okay, thank you so much for that. So Ronald, you're going to take up the next question.